I stared at my phone screen, my breath caught in my throat. The words in the group chat burned into my mind, each sentence a knife twisting deeper into my chest. Olivia is basically our family ATM. She is too dumb to notice. I blinked, hoping that I had misread it. But no, the message was real. My parents had said it. My own brother had shared it. The people I had spent my whole life supporting, sacrificing for, loving. This was how they saw me. A machine. A wallet. My fingers trembled as I scrolled up. Message after message, laughing about how easy it was to take my money, joking about how I never questioned where it all went. My stomach churned. My heart pounded. My ears rang. And then, a single thought cut through the chaos in my mind. I was done. I had always been the responsible one in my family, the one who picked up the pieces, who held everything together when things fell apart. My parents, Richard and Linda, were never what you would call financially responsible. They had a habit of living beyond their means, constantly chasing a lifestyle they could not afford. New cars, expensive vacations, shopping sprees. It did not matter if the bills were piling up. They always found a way to spend money they did not have. And then there was my younger brother Liam, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. I had been working full-time since I was 18, juggling jobs and side gigs to make sure my family never went without. When my parents needed help paying their mortgage, I gave them money. When Liam wanted a new gaming console, I covered it. When unexpected expenses came up, I was always the first person they called. And I never questioned it. Not once. Because I loved them. Because I thought that was what family did for each other. But now, staring at the messages in that group chat, I felt like the biggest fool in the world. I was not in the group. That much was obvious. My name was only ever mentioned in third person, always in the context of how much money I had given them, how much more they could take before I caught on. Liam had sent me the screenshots. No explanation. No apology. Just cold, hard proof of what our parents really thought of me. My throat felt tight as I scrolled through the messages again. She just gives the money without asking questions. I swear, she is too dumb to even realize we could do this forever. As long as we make her feel needed, she will keep paying. She does not want to be alone. We raised her right. She knows her place. My place. My fingers curled into fists. I had spent years believing that if I just worked harder, if I just gave more, my parents would love me the way they loved Liam. That they would see me as more than just a walking bank account. But they never would. I was not their daughter. I was their safety net. And I was done being used. I put my phone down and stared at the wall, my thoughts racing. My chest felt tight, and my hands were ice cold. I had spent my entire life believing that family came first. That no matter what, we were supposed to take care of each other. That was what I had been doing for years. Making sure my parents were comfortable. That Liam had everything he wanted. That no one ever had to struggle the way I had when I first started working. And this was how they saw me. Dumb. A bank account. A means to an end. The betrayal burned through me like fire. But beneath the pain, something else was stirring: anger. Real, raw, and uncontrollable. I grabbed my phone and called Liam. He picked up after the first ring, his voice cautious. "Hey, what is this?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Why did you send me this?" A pause. "I thought you should know." I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "You thought I should know? How long has this been going on?" Another silence. Then more hesitantly, "A while." I gritted my teeth. Define a while. Years. I felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. Years. They had been laughing behind my back, using me, manipulating me for years. Why now? My voice was barely above a whisper. Liam sighed. "Because I do not think it is right anymore." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But he had been a part of this. He had known. He had benefited. So what? You just grew a conscience overnight. I asked bitterly. Liam hesitated. "No. I started thinking about what would happen when you finally figured it out. And I did not want to be the one left in the wreckage." His words hit me like a slap. So that was it. He was not telling me out of guilt. He was not telling me because he cared about me. He was telling me because he was afraid of losing his safety net. I swallowed back the lump in my throat. "Thanks for letting me know, Liam," I said, my voice cold. But you and Mom and Dad, you are on your own now. Olivia, wait. I ended the call. For the first time in my life, I was done waiting. Done forgiving. Done being the fool. I took a deep breath and started making a plan. The money stops now. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. The pain was still there, lodged deep in my chest. But beneath it was something new. Determination. Clarity. I was done being their puppet. I had spent too much time thinking that if I just gave a little more, sacrificed a little more, they would love me the way I had always hoped. But love was not conditional. Love was not something that needed to be bought. And they had made it clear, I was nothing but their ATM. Well, the ATM was officially closed. I spent the day making changes. First, I went through my finances. I had direct deposits set up for my parents' bills, mortgage, utilities, even their internet and phone plans. I had taken care of it all for years. It was second nature to me. With shaking hands, I canceled every single one of them. Next, I checked my credit. I had let my parents use my name for certain things, credit cards, small loans. They had always promised to pay them off, but I knew now that was a lie. I called the banks, disputed any fraudulent activity, and froze my credit. No more loans in my name. No more charges I never agreed to. Lastly, I blocked my parents' numbers. I hesitated for a second before doing the same to Liam. He might have been the one to tell me the truth, but he had known for years. He had laughed along with them, taken my money, my kindness, my trust, and used it just like they did. I owed him nothing. The moment I hit block, a strange sense of peace settled over me. I was free. The first explosion came later that evening. I was finishing up work when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I ignored it, but it rang again. And again. By the fourth time I picked up. Olivia. My mother's sharp voice snapped through the line. What is going on? I leaned back in my chair. What do you mean? Do not play dumb, she hissed. The mortgage was declined. The bills were declined. I just got off the phone with the credit card company, and they said everything in your name is frozen. That is right, I said calmly. I took my name off everything. A long silence. Then a cold laugh. Oh, I see what this is. You are punishing us, is that it? Because your brother sent you some stupid messages. I felt a muscle in my jaw tighten. Those stupid messages showed me exactly what you think of me. I am done letting you use me. Her voice sharpened. We are family. Families help each other. Funny, I said. That is exactly what I thought, until I saw what you really think of me. You are overreacting. I am done. A beat of silence. Then she scoffed. You owe us, Olivia. I nearly laughed at the sheer audacity of it. I owe you what exactly? She did not hesitate. Everything. We raised you. We put a roof over your head. Fed you. Clothed you. You would be nothing without us. I had to close my eyes for a moment to keep myself from screaming. That is what parents are supposed to do, I said, my voice eerily calm. You do not get to guilt trip me for doing the bare minimum. Oh, grow up, she snapped. You would not have made it through college without us. My fingers clenched around my phone. I put myself through college. I worked 2 jobs. I took out loans. You did not give me a single dime. Another long silence. I could almost hear her scrambling to find another angle. Then her voice turned saccharine. Olivia, sweetheart. I know this is a lot to process, but we are your family. We love you. We need you. You would not just turn your back on us, would you? I let out a breath, and finally said the words I never thought I would say. Yes, I would. Then I hung up. The next call came from Liam. I debated ignoring it, but something in me needed to hear what he had to say. I picked up, but before I could speak, his voice came through, rushed and anxious. They are freaking out, he said. Mom is losing her mind. Dad is trying to figure out how to fix this. They are saying you are being ridiculous. I smiled bitterly. Of course they are. Look, I know they messed up, he continued, his voice hesitant. But you cannot just cut us off like this. They need you. No, I corrected. They need my money. A long pause. So what now? You are just going to pretend we do not exist. I exhaled slowly. I do not know, Liam, but I do know that I am done being used. That is not fair, he muttered. I get that you are upset, but you are punishing all of us. I closed my eyes, exhaustion washing over me. You knew, Liam. You knew for years. You laughed with them. You took my money just like they did. He hesitated. I did not think it was that bad. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Then you were just as blind as I was. Silence. Finally he let out a slow breath. So this is it. I thought about it. About all the times I had put them first, only to be repaid with betrayal. About all the years I had spent hoping they would love me the way I loved them. And I realized something. I would always love them. That would never change. But I would not let them hurt me anymore. This is it, I said softly. Goodbye, Liam. I hung up before he could say another word. And for the first time in my life I felt free. The first few days after cutting my family off felt strange. A quiet I had never known settled into my life. No frantic calls from my mother asking for money. No guilt-tripping messages from my father. No last-minute requests from Liam. Just silence. For the first time in years, my bank account remained untouched except for my own expenses. The weight on my shoulders, the constant pressure to provide had lifted. I could breathe. But the pain did not disappear overnight. I still found myself checking my phone out of habit, expecting to see their names pop up on my screen. I still felt the familiar urge to reach out, to ask if they were okay, to fix things. And then I would remember. Olivia is basically our family ATM. She just gives the money without asking questions. As long as we make her feel needed, she will keep paying. She does not want to be alone. They had never needed me, only what I could give them. A week passed before they tried again. I was leaving work when an unknown number called. I hesitated, then let it go to voicemail. A few minutes later, a notification popped up. I took a deep breath and pressed play. Olivia. My father's voice came through low and serious. This has gone on long enough. I rolled my eyes. Of course, he was not calling to apologize. You are being selfish, he continued. I do not know what kind of nonsense you have been reading, or who has been putting ideas in your head. But this is not how families work. You do not just walk away. I clenched my jaw. He sighed dramatically. Your mother is sick with worry. She has barely eaten. Do you even care what you are doing to her? There it was. The guilt. The emotional manipulation. The same tactics they had always used to keep me in line. But this time, it did not work. I deleted the voicemail without a second thought. Liam was next. He showed up at my apartment 2 days later. I had just gotten home from work when the knock came. I knew it was him before I even opened the door. He stood there, hands shoved into his pockets, looking uncomfortable. Hey. I crossed my arms. What do you want? He let out a breath. Can I come in? I thought about it. Then after a moment I stepped aside. Liam walked in, looking around as if expecting to see some dramatic change in my life. But nothing had changed except me. I gestured to the couch. Say what you need to say. He sat down and ran a hand through his hair. Mom and Dad are freaking out. The house payment is due. The bills are piling up. They do not know what to do. I stayed silent. He hesitated. They need help. I let out a humorless laugh. Then they can figure it out. Like I always had to. He flinched. It is not that simple. Is it not? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Because from where I am standing, it looks pretty simple. They treated me like a bank, and now the bank is closed. Liam sighed. Look, I get that you are mad. No, I interrupted. You do not get it. You never did. You stood by while they used me. You laughed along with them. And now that it is all falling apart, you want me to fix it. He looked away. I never thought it would get this bad. Because you never had to think about it, I shot back. You had them on your side. You had me looking out for you. I was the only one who was ever left struggling. A long silence stretched between us. Finally Liam spoke, his voice quieter. So that is it. You are just done. I exhaled slowly. I do not know what done means, Liam. But I know I cannot live like that anymore. He nodded, his expression unreadable. All right. He stood up, hesitated for a moment, then walked to the door. Just as he reached for the handle, I spoke. For what it is worth, I said, my voice softer. I really hope you figure things out. But I am not your safety net anymore. Liam did not turn around. He just nodded once and left. And just like that, I closed the door on a life I had spent years trying to hold together. In the weeks that followed, I expected to feel guilty, to feel alone. But I did not. I felt free. I started doing things I had never allowed myself to do before. I booked a weekend trip for myself, something I had never done, because I had always been saving my money for my family's expenses. I signed up for a cooking class, just because I wanted to. I went out with friends without worrying about unexpected calls demanding money. For the first time in my life, I was living for me. And it was beautiful. A month passed before I heard from Liam again. This time it was a text. Liam, I get it now. I really do. And I am sorry. I stared at the message for a long time. I did not know if I was ready to forgive him. But maybe, just maybe one day I would be. I locked my phone and looked out the window. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over everything. I smiled to myself. For the first time in my life, I was not waiting for their approval. I was not waiting for love that was never coming. I was free. And that was enough.